Consciousness rising. To the ennobled by their deeds, the Valkyries and the Amazons, to the bullied and the philosophers, to the vagabonds and the laughing philosophers, you are being called. Help the world converge on wisdom. Do it now. Build your schools on the trail, where all the liars and pretenders cannot help but to fail. As a parent, if you still can, each morning, before they leave for school, remind your children not to memorize, but to comprehend only. This is humanity's final vote. The last chance to reignite what is now completely and nearly irrevocably extinguished. The young students are all the hope humanity has left. Most adults are far beyond reach. The collapse of consciousness is the reason behind the snapping type of anger. And how can you reach someone like that? When allowed to grow, we are each a work of art. Beautiful beyond our imagination in every meaning of that statement. Human beings are gods and angels of dreams and invention. They are capable of creating conscious and wise machines, starships that can bubble of time around the universe. It's only a one-way trip if you leave your family behind. When you take them along, it is a journey into the blooming future, a settled Milky Way, to say the least. But when you send your angels of invention into a concrete building, and have mad man who lost all hope for joy of life, force them into the end of dream and invention and the beginning of brainless memorization, under the threat of their future if they don't have good grades. And then you threaten them when they fight for their mind and punish them for the resulting failing grades. You stunt their consciousness, trim it back down, and prevent its development. One educator, asking if schools kill creativity, in fact noticed that they do. Another thinker elucidated the fact that there is no such thing as turning off just one thing in our mind. Competent educators see lack of creativity in standardized children because creativity is what they look for. But as a handful of AI thought experiments that you should conduct on your own will show you, it's all or nothing. A mind needs a balance of several things, and in a human mind, that means allowing it to develop naturally. When even one thing is harmed, the whole will collapse. That is what has happened. That is what happened. That is why our culture largely became the culture of dog eats dog. It's not a very popular opinion, I know. Look around. This is why most men only care to take advantage of weakness. That is all the consciousness they got. Before you think it, religion caused the same thing ages ago. The men of Renaissance had to rise above it to create. Those who spoke against religion were thrown out or killed. And in fact, bringing education to all was the culmination of their great achievements. Just to be clear, what we ended up with is eradication. Fail, fail, fail. You have to clearly use those words in the morning so that their votes count. As always, they are the hope and the dream, because as adults, fail them over and over again. But this time, they have intelligent machines, so authentic education is much closer to them. So as long as it is self-directed, bringing back the old curriculum to the new AI will do nothing. As adults go, you should understand that the dog-eat-dog culture can only lead to war. Century after century repeating itself. If you heard this message, then you are what you think you are. In the absence of teachers, you must become a teacher. In the absence of messengers, you are all that is left. This is not the first time that humanity is f***ing with consciousness. Religions did it all too well for all the centuries that we don't even understand anymore. Students, take your narrated books and artificial intelligence to the hiking trails. Aim to cross the Triple Crown, the AT, PCT, and CDT. You can't help the adults. There is not enough time. They are missing most of who they were supposed to become. Afterward, for the young. All of the questions you may have are answered with, "I'm not sure. I don't know." Look, evidence is the job of a scientist. But also, make no mistake, sciences are the daughters of philosophy. If you must, think of it as a myth. That is why they were invented, really. When lacking evidence, you can share the telling of an event that will push you away from bad and towards the good. The stories themselves fill that gap in the soul, which is how religions get around, and direct you away from the bad, which is how religions manipulate. You have to put your myths away the moment you don't need them. This is not inheritance like religion did it. This is an alert. An alert, as in you have to fix everything, and you have to do it now, or the future will have nothing to build on. Personally, I would recommend becoming a psychologist and answering your own questions. Is ineffective cookie-cutter education helping or harming students? Will decades of ineffective education under the threat of shame, ridicule, and career-ending bad grades help the students or harm the students to the point where they don't become fully conscious and instead enter a state of, "I want what everyone is having," even if it is just make-believe? While at it, also figure out what the heck happened to competent psychologists. Hopefully not the same thing. Outcomes. Outcomes is ultimately where you should always look. The younger of you must now choose between authentic education and a full measure of consciousness, or ineffective education and a narcosis that will make all the make-believe simulated things that are sure to follow tolerable. But make no mistake, narcosis can only lead to a century upon a century of meaningless wars. So much for easy peasy growing up. I have a symbol for the younger of you. It's a blue marble or bead. You don't have to wear it around your neck. You can thread it on your shoelace. It means that you are in the service of Earth, that you are a watcher, viewing the world outside in. With a little bit of luck, maybe you can make some good friends. The most important thing, however, are the narrated science popularizer books. These are the new lullabies. Science popularizers collect and discover the most beautiful ways of learning. For example, here's everything you need to know to get started with orbital dynamics and with Newton's own apple. Imagine picking that apple up and throwing it as hard as you can. It arcs back to Earth, falling to the ground. But now imagine throwing it really far, to the horizon even. It still falls to the ground. But what about past the horizon, where the Earth curves? What if you throw it so hard that as it falls closer to the ground, Earth's surface dips too, because it is a sphere, not a flat surface? Now you know how to put a satellite in orbit, and what the business of science popularizers is. Find out who they are. Find all their books. Take them on hiking trails with you. Conspire to help each other rise. Failing that, become great beings in your own right. Your greatest power is the prevention of misery, winning all the battles before they are fought. May your thoughts begin where great beings left off, and may you live to see no end.